Hello, and welcome to Raising Mommy, a podcast sanctuary where moms can come to listen, share, learn, and grow. I'm your host, Kimberly Tyson, vegan blogger for eatplantsforlife.com, wife and mom of two. Here in the studio today, I am joined by first-time mom, Olivia Milana, and her daughter, Talia, who you will hear in the background running around. Hi, Olivia. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
And Talia.
Tali, can you say hi?
Maybe not.
No.
That's okay. We'll get her over here in a minute. Today's segment of Real Chat is titled The New Mom Experience. And Olivia's here to talk about her experience as a new mom.
Love it.
So what's the best part, or what was the best part about being pregnant?
Oh, my. Well, finding out you're pregnant is always the most magical moment and the most terrifying. You start shaking. You're like, oh, now what do? I have to act completely differently because now I know I'm going to be a mom.
Right.
I think the best part about being pregnant was the amount of self-care I allowed myself. You know, I think I finally said, oh, well, now I really have the freedom to take care of myself. And before, I don't think I ever allowed myself that. I just kind of said, I'll get to it.
Right.
But, you know, instead of it feeling so indulgent, it felt like I deserved it.
Right.
So I think that was the best part about being
Right,
pregnant.
because you were considering another little one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, honestly, was the fact that I was not concerned about a single solitary calorie.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about eating exactly what I wanted after the morning sickness. I don't know if you had morning sickness, did you?
I did. I think I threw up every single day.
Oh, wow.
Until I gave birth.
Oh, my goodness.
It is what it is. But on top of that, I also was diagnosed with preeclampsia.
Okay.
So, you know, I got on bed rest near the end, and then it's so strange too when you get diagnosed with something during pregnancy because you think everything's going fine, and then you go to one of the appointments one day and they go, oh, guess what? This is what you have, and your life is going to be totally different from here on out until you have the baby. It didn't really cause that much. There wasn't anything I really had to do differently when I was diagnosed with preeclampsia. And if you don't know what preeclampsia is, it's essentially when your liver starts working a lot harder because you have twice the amount of blood volume and you're not processing protein appropriately. So they diagnose it by finding protein in your urine. You have to do weird things like 24-hour urine collections.
Oh, wow.
You have to keep like this weird jug in your fridge.
Oh.
And you got to just keep urine. It's very odd.
Right.
But when it came to like pre and things like that, there's nothing really I had to do to change. It was just about monitoring and staying on top of your blood pressure and things like that. And then when they tell you to go and have the baby, you go and you have the baby because the only thing that cures preeclampsia is delivery.
So you were on bed rest near the end?
I was.
For how long?
I believe it was about 3 weeks.
Okay.
I gave birth at 37 weeks. So I think I went in at about 34 weeks after I did my second 24-hour jug of urine. And they said, all right, let's do it. So I just relaxed. It was just to keep my blood pressure down and, you know, stop all that stuff. But
so would you say the bed rest was your least favorite part of being pregnant?
No, it was the best part of being pregnant.
You like the bed rest?
I caught up on all my trash TV and I was just living my, but it was the worst because you are just chained to a bed, but it was the best because everyone did everything for me.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm the type of person that you need to tell me to stop, forcibly tell me to stop doing stuff. Don't do the laundry or don't clean the entire house right now because I just like to be busy and like to have projects. So maybe like thinking back now that I have a toddler, the idea of just doing nothing is kind of beautiful.
So it's like a pre-baby vacay.
It was, in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said you were sick the whole time. You threw up just about everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so I can't complain because my first baby, I was sick for the 6 weeks. Second baby, 4 months. I mean, it was so bad. I had to take like Zofran.
Oh, you know, that, yeah.
I mean, and I always felt guilty because I had a 20-month-old who was wondering, okay, mommy's sick, mommy can't do this. And I couldn't help it. I mean, I was losing weight. And then, of course, I made up for it after about the 6-month mark.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So were there any things during your pregnancy that surprised you that you didn't know?
I think the fact, and I think a lot of women think this, at least all my friends who become pregnant with their first, they're all surprised that they don't instantly look pregnant.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're like,
Right.
where's my bump? I'm 17 weeks. And sometimes it has to do with body. You know, just if you are a little bit larger, it's going to take a little bit longer. And if you're more petite, maybe you see it instantly. But I even have friends who are tiny and they didn't get their bump till like 20. It's just, they look like they weren't pregnant. And then at 24 weeks, it was like, wow, there's a baby in there. How did that happen? And I think that was kind of what happened with me. I was like, I'm 13 weeks. Why doesn't everybody just assume I'm pregnant and see that I'm pregnant? It's because you're just so self-absorbed. That's all you can think about. So I think that's what surprised me, that it took so long to actually
look pregnant.
I felt pregnant because I was sick and like, tired. And I was, being self-indulgent and laying around and like, oh, I'm pregnant. I can't. But I think all of a sudden I was like 30 weeks and I finally looked in the mirror. I was like, oh no, I'm very pregnant, because it takes a while for you to like look at the image in the mirror and like associate it.
Yeah.
I think that's always surprising.
I think too with me, with that subject, I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't even look pregnant. And my doctor told me it's because it's your first pregnancy, so those muscles are really tight.
Right.
She said, but by the second baby, you'll see it sooner.
Right.
And she was exactly right.
Yeah.
So by the second baby, I was showing at 6 weeks, I could tell I was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. I would also say that I was not liking the prenatal vitamins.
Oh.
I had issues with the size. They're horse pills.
They are.
And I couldn't cut them in half because I would cut my throat.
Sure.
Couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Those were terrible. I actually still take them because I just never came off of them. You're supposed to take them all through breastfeeding. I breastfed for a year. So I just continue. I still take them now.
Yeah.
But my issue too is sometimes you have to get those packs where they have one vitamin for, just the general multivitamin. And then you take the DHA supplement on top of that. I'm like, how many pills am I taking?
Right.
It's like you have four pills a day. And I'm like, I can't. It's too much. And then you have to try different types.
Right.
And then you have to take them with food or else you're going to vomit them because you have morning sickness.
Right.
It's just a mess.
Exactly.
It's a mess.
And I will say also that I was a little surprised by the fact that as I got bigger, I would sometimes wet myself a little bit. So panty liners were my friend.
Yes, definitely.
What type of food cravings did you have?
Okay, so this is really odd. I hated ranch dressing. I was one of those weird people like, how do you not like ranch dressing? I hated it. And then one day I remember sitting in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru line because I ate a lot of Chick-fil-A. And I remember ordering ranch dressing and I don't know why I ordered it. And then I never stopped.
Wow.
I couldn't stop eating ranch dressing. And to this day, I still eat it. Maybe it's because I finally started liking it. But then, of course, now Tali is obsessed with ranch dressing. I'm like, okay, well, there it is. Ranch dressing. And then I remember before finding out I was pregnant, one of the weird things was I was like, I really want sour candy. And I'm not really into sour stuff. And I remember telling my husband, Daniel, I was like, okay, so you need to go over to Walgreens. You need to get a pregnancy test and sour candy and come back. And lo and behold, here we are.
I wasn't a huge Arby's fan, but for some reason I liked the sauce, the Arby's sauce.
Yeah.
So I only wanted the sauce packets. Doesn't make sense.
No.
Don't like them now. But if I could get that sauce somehow on something that I'm eating, it was a great day. And then I was kind of obsessed with the ices that you get.
Yeah.
The frozen ices.
Oh, those are always good.
At the time I was working, and I would actually sit in the parking lot of the movie theater or the bowling alley because they don't open till 12 or 1. Wait for them to open, go into a movie theater, bypass the ticket taker and say, look, I don't want to see a movie. I just want to go to the concession stand. And they got so used to me coming because I had to have a strawberry icy just about every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a little strange. Have you ever had Daniel run out and get you anything in the middle of the night?
No. I did? Of course, my husband's here. I did? Do you remember what it was? What?
All the sour stuff.
Oh, sour things?
Really?
Yeah, it was the sour stuff.
Yeah.
Need something sour immediately.
Wow.
I think it may have been nausea. I don't know if the sour candy had something to do, because you know
That
how you
does
get
help.
that
Yeah.
taste in your mouth? I think that was maybe why.
Sour and salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sour and salt. Maybe that's what it was. Of course, I don't remember.
I did the
Whatever, Mom
McDonald's. I had the McDonald's issue.
Craving.
Yeah. And they had to be hot, salty fries.
Yeah.
So I did make my husband go get that a couple of times in the middle of the night. And of course, he had to do it too.
At least they were open 24 hours. Imagine if you had a craving for something and they weren't open 24 hours.
Bad night.
Forget it.
So did you have a delivery plan? And how did that go?
Okay. So I was very opinionated about making sure I had a vaginal birth.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I talked about. I said, I don't care. I'm just going to have a vaginal birth. We're going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I remember telling my doctor how serious I was about it. Even when, they told me I had pre-E and I was high risk and I was probably going to deliver
Mm-hmm.
preterm. I mean, technically I was term, but a week over.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't care. That's what I want to have. And of course, every time you go in, they check your cervix, make sure you're dilating or whatever. And they're like, wow, you're already 2 centimeters. That's great. And I was like at 34 weeks. So I was like, I'm on the way. I'm going to do it. And then we went to the hospital tour and they were telling us, sure, like whatever's part of your birth plan will accommodate you. If you want to use a birthing ball, if you want to labor while walking in the hallways, play music, have candles. I was like, oh, that
Wow.
sounds so nice. And then the moment we got there and they had to induce me because I was 37 weeks, I remember I started feeling contractions and I was like, all the drugs. Give me all of the drugs. I thought I was so strong and I was going to be able to get through it mentally, but nope. I said, whatever you have, I want all of it. And, I ended up having a C-section, so they didn't give me anything until, of course, the C-section. So whatever.
So during delivery, were there any surprises?
The C-section.
Yeah.
I labored for 9 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So I was in active labor for 9. I think I got there. We hung out for, 3 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the Pitocin in. I didn't feel any contractions for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started. So then they kept trying to get me to, I was progressing great. I think I actually got to 9 centimeters,
Mm-hmm.
which was amazing, fully effaced. But then Tali, of course, just wasn't responding as good
Mm-hmm.
On the monitor or as well as they hoped. And my blood pressure was like not going well. So my doctor came and was like, listen, I'd love to do this with you, but I just think for like everyone's safety, let's go in. Let's get her out. I was like, all right, let's do it. And fortunately, that worked out. So she's here.
I think ours is kind of similar because I remember with my first baby, I don't know if Talia ever did this, but my first baby would move at certain times of the day.
Right.
Every day at 3, every day at 7 o'clock at night, she would move quite a bit. I don't know if she was waking up from a nap or whatever. So I look forward to it. So I remember the night before I had her, she wasn't moving. She didn't move at 3 o'clock. She didn't move at 7 o'clock. And I was really stressed out about it. And so by 11 o'clock that night, I told my husband, I woke him up. I said, look, this is just really weird. I need to probably go to the doctor in the morning. He was like, you know what? Let's go now. Mm-hmm. So I went. They put her on the monitor. Mm-hmm. They said, oh, we need to induce. So they gave me the Pitocin. She wasn't responding well to that. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the room, and a bunch of doctors just bust into the room and said, we need to get her out now. So she actually had the cord around her neck. So I was really glad that he didn't have me wait.
Yeah.
Because, I guess guys or fathers have intuition too.
Mm-hmm.
And we went in and I had the C-section. I was like, I'm going to have a vaginal birth. No.
Yeah.
C-section all the way.
The strange thing is Tali also had the cord wrapped around her neck twice.
Mm.
And then after it was strange because they pulled her out and then I heard it like her gurgling noise because of course they had to kind of move her and her color wasn't great.
Yeah.
She's kind of grayish purple. And they let both of us kind of like love on her. They just set her like right on my chest and I nuzzled her and got to look at her, touch her little nose. And Daniel got to hold her for a couple minutes and they were like, you know, there's something going on. Let's take her. And then of course Daniel's like, okay, bye. You know, like,
oh, wow.
see you later. So he goes with her to the NICU. She ended up being fine. She just had extra fluid. And, you know, sometimes that happens with C-section babies because they're not able to go through the vaginal canal and have it all squeezed out. So, yeah, but you know what? I think you're right. I feel like sometimes doctors and people around pregnant women also have like an instinctual feeling that something's off.
Now, with my second one, there were no surprises, but funny story. When my husband was in the delivery room with me and she came out and he was with her as they were, you know, getting her ready. He walked back over to me. He said, Kim, I'm really stressed out. I'm like, why? He's like, our baby has a hairy back. He didn't know that's normal. And I had already read about it. He was like, this one is going to be with us for a while. And I'm like, I think they call it lanugo or something, where I guess they usually lose that in the 7th or 8th month. But she didn't lose hers. So she had a full head of hair, but she also had hair on her shoulders and her back, and it freaked him out. So, but anyway, it was gone within a couple of weeks. So he was fine after that. But funny story.
I remember Tali being like super hairy, having all over her back and stuff. And I was like, this is definitely your child to my husband. I was like, I don't have hair like this.
Yeah.
But it's gone now.
Both of my kids had a lot of hair and I had a lot of heartburn.
Oh,
and
yeah?
they told me that was the reason. And I don't know if that's an old wives' tale but I did have a lot of heartburn and they had a lot of hair. So I always like to ask new moms this because I had my own experience. When you were leaving the hospital, what was going through your head with the baby? Anything? Or was it just me?
No, it was me too. I was so happy to be out of there.
Yeah.
Because it was just panic from like the moment we had her. She was in the NICU just, you know, while we were there. We got her back the last night before we left. And then I remember getting her in the car and going, what do we do if something happens? They're just gonna let us leave with this baby. I'm stealing this child.
Yes.
You feel like you're kidnapping your own kid.
Yes. And I'm like telling my husband, he was thinking the same thing. I'm like, they're letting us leave with this baby.
Right.
And I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna sit in the back seat. I need you to drive slow. And he changed the channel on the radio station. He's like, no, we can't listen to that. Let's turn it to some gospel music.
Classical music for their brain.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I always wonder, am I the only one that thought, what are they doing?
Right.
Letting us leave with this baby, but
Stealing
apparently not so much. So what was your biggest adjustment or challenge the first few weeks after?
So I was very, and I still am, very passionate about breastfeeding.
Okay.
Teach their own, you know, but breastfeeding was my main goal. After I gave birth, I said, I will breastfeed for 12 months and I will find a way to do it. And I just thought it was going to be the most beautiful and natural thing. It would just happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's so natural. Why isn't everybody just breastfeeding? It's so, but that's not the way that breastfeeding works.
Right.
So I think the first couple of weeks, I was surprised how often I had to nurse.
Yeah.
Because every book, every article, everything I ever read about breastfeeding was like, oh, for a newborn, it's approximately every 2 hours. I was feeding every 30 minutes. Sometimes I just feel like it was just a blur of nursing. I felt like I couldn't go to the bathroom. I couldn't shower because I had to be on call every moment that she needed me. And it's just nothing could really prepare me. And I remember sitting in bed, I think it was after she was 2 weeks old. She started cluster feeding, which is something natural that happens when you breastfeed, where in the evenings I start nursing for hours at a time to prepare for a longer stretch of sleep. Their body it's when they start falling into that circadian rhythm. And I remember crying after like the second hour of still nursing. And I looked at my husband and I was like, if this is what it's going to be like, I don't know if I'm, of course you're so dramatic. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. This is so hard. I can't believe it's this hard. There must be something wrong with me or must be something wrong with the baby. No, that was just.
That's the way it is.
That's the way it was. And I think there's like that weird adjustment period, maybe until 8 weeks, 6 weeks, where you finally go, okay, I got this. Like I can handle it.
Yeah.
But the first couple of weeks of breastfeeding, it's just so weird and you don't know what you're doing right or if the baby's okay because they're so little and they can't tell you if anything's wrong. So
was your flow there before you left the hospital?
no.
Okay. Yeah, I had that same issue too.
Yeah.
It took a couple days.
I was blessed with a lactation consultant. From the moment I came back from delivery, they were already in the room ready for me. And they knew my baby was going to be in the NICU.
Yeah.
They set me up with one of those hospital grade pumps and she got me going and they took me into the NICU as much as possible to try and get her to latch. But I just had nothing.
Yeah.
And then finally I was getting drops like the day we left. And then, of course they let us go. I got home and I think right after the night we got home, so my milk came in. The next morning, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was like
magical.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was wonderful.
Yeah. So I heard you say, and I'm a little jealous that you had the breast pump.
Yeah,
in the hospital.
I did.
I could never use the breast pump, which made it even harder.
It makes it way harder
because I have to be within reach.
Right.
My husband couldn't feed her.
Yeah.
Grandparents can't feed her.
Yep.
I have to get up for each feeding.
Yep.
So you were able to pump.
I was. Oh. But here's the crazy thing. She wouldn't take a bottle.
Oh.
So if it's not one thing, it's the other.
Right.
So I was able to pump when she was very, very little.
Okay.
She would take a bottle. But I think it's just because, I don't know, it was the only thing that was presented to her immediately.
Okay.
Because whatever I had at the hospital, they were feeding it to her through a bottle. She would be in the NICU. And then after that, when we finally got home and we had a good solid latch, that was it. Even if I pumped and, for example, say I went to dinner or something and I left a bottle with my husband while I was out with the girls, he would have to call me and be like, listen, she's not taking the bottle. Oh. Here I go, back home. But I don't know. It's one of those things. There are some babies that are awesome and they'll just, they'll work with you and they're really just dynamic. And mine is set in her ways. But
did you have, I don't know if this is just me, but I had issues with, now I loved the fact that I could breastfeed her. I mean, it was a bonding moment.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I could eat whatever I wanted.
Right.
But I noticed that I couldn't have much conversation while I was feeding because it interrupted the flow.
Yeah.
She would actually get upset with me and make those noises while I was nursing her. And I thought, I have to be quiet while I do this. I can't talk on the phone. I can't do anything. I don't know if you had that, but I heard that sometimes it interrupts the flow.
Yeah, I felt that too. Usually the best nursing sessions I would have would be in the morning when everything was quiet. And you also have a better supply in the morning. That's just the way that it is. But in the mornings when everything was really quiet, I felt like that's when we got like we had the good connection. Everything was going and working. And then she'd go a longer stretch, like in that mid-morning.
Okay.
But yeah, I noticed that too, especially in the evenings when you had people like around you and you're sitting on the couch and talking. It was almost like more distracting and like it just didn't work. But yeah, I think maybe if you're focused on other things and you're not focused on nursing, your body's like, well,
yeah, focus
on this. Look what I'm doing for you.
And she would let me know it. That's for sure. So the best part for me, besides the bonding, was the fact that I was saving a lot of money. I'm going to be honest. New parents will spend up to $1,900 on formula the first year. So we did good.
Oh my
saving.
God. I'm so blessed that my body worked for me.
Yes.
And then I was able to save some money because
I always felt bad for the moms that had more trouble doing it. I know that most moms try, like 80% try it in the beginning. And it says that half usually do it for 6 months of the 80%, and then 30% make it to the year. So that's
good.
Yeah, it is. It is really good. So what was weaning like for you?
I was really lucky. I was really lucky because I in my mom group, I'm probably the only one who has this type of wonderful story about weaning because I know it's not that easy. But I made a goal for myself to get to 12 months, which we did. And then after her first birthday, I simply dropped. At that point, she was at 4 feeds a day.
Okay.
Which is still a lot for a 12-month-old, but that's just where we were at. And I dropped a feed a day every week. So like the first week after she turned 12 months, we dropped one of the afternoon ones. And then the next week we dropped the 2 middle feeds. So we only had one in the morning and one at night. And then the last one we dropped was the night feed. And the last time I nursed her, it was, it was emotional for me. She didn't really care.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so emotional because you're like, it's the end of an era.
Yeah.
She doesn't need me anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, it feels like you're sending them to college.
I know. It's like, I had the same thing. Like with my first one, she was hard to wean.
Right.
She didn't like it at all. For with her, it didn't bother me as much. But for some reason with the second one, because it was so quick.
Sure.
And she moved on.
Yeah.
I was like a little torn there.
Yeah. And I think the weird thing is I thought she was going to have a really hard time with it. I was like, she's going to have a really hard time tomorrow morning because, there's nothing. And how am I going to ever get her to sleep again? Because I was one of those parents who was like, I always nurse before I put her down to relax and fill her bellies, whatever. And it's like, she didn't even ask for it. I was like, I felt, oh, you just used me. You just wanted me for milk. Why am I here?
Right.
But no, she moved on really quickly. And I think it was also because she has been a great eater. When we introduced foods at 6 months, she just did awesome and loved to try new things. So she probably just felt nutritionally satisfied. So this was just something she didn't need anymore. And, for me, it was way harder. For her, she did great. But I know other parents who have different experiences where it's like, when they're around 12 months too, they can start asking and pulling and requesting. And you're like, it's hard because you have to actually tell them no and they don't understand why. So that's tough.
So did you ever have to give her a pacifier, or were you the only pacifier?
I was the pacifier.
Me too. Yeah.
We tried pacifiers just for, a moment to relax. And that didn't work. Occasionally they'd work in the car because in the car seat, like you have no other options.
Right.
But otherwise, nah. Maybe when she was like little, tiny, but otherwise.
But at least you didn't have to wean her off of that.
Yeah, that's good.
So was it always the plan for you to stay at home with her?
I think initially, no. And then it became yes. I think when we started doing the math on, daycare and care, I sat there and I said, okay, is it worth the extra X amount of dollars? Because, my paycheck, we just took it that way.
Right.
If my paycheck was to pay for childcare, which, of course it would be out of both of our checks, but
technically,
we're just talking about overall sum of money. Is it worth the extra, $400 or however much a week to stay or to go and work?
Right.
And I think that's what it came down to. It was just kind of the, how much money am I willing to spend or save to be the one who's there with my kids? And, my parents put me in daycare and I think like my mom went back to work 6 weeks after both of us. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And,
no, absolutely not.
I just think it was a matter of a financial decision for us. And on top of that, like an emotional decision. So it is what it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with daycare, but I don't know. For me, I was just like, I don't know how much money I want to walk away with just so I can put her in daycare. I don't know. That's what it came
I know
down
exactly
to.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't planned.
Right.
But as she was probably about 6 weeks. I went to different daycare centers.
Okay.
And I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I looked at my husband. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, whatever you want to do. I mean, he was very supportive, but
Sure.
with the price and, some daycares aren't that great.
Yeah.
And the ones that were near the job I was working at weren't that great.
Right.
So it was a tough decision, but we managed. We cut back. We managed, and it turned out great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen to this fact here. Child care cost. U.S. average. What do you think it is per year?
Oh my God. Okay. The average. Let's say $11,000.
You're close. It's $10,000. That's pretty good. The highest state, Washington, D.C., has the highest at $35,000 per year. That's their average.
They're going to Harvard?
Pretty
That's
much.
tuition.
The least expensive is the Cricket Letter State, Mississippi, $8,000 a year. And Georgia's about $13,000 a year.
We're somewhere in the middle then.
So that was part of the reason why I changed my mind. So do you have a plan to go back to work, or are you going to stay home?
I do. So I am right now so I have a degree, but now I need to go back and get a different degree.
Okay. That's
because, I want to become an RN.
Wow.
And I want to become a lactation consultant.
Really?
Yeah.
So you'll definitely have to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Because I need a lactation consultant to come to the show so I can ask questions.
It's my dream. It's something about the lactation consultant in the hospital when I met her. Just, it was so interesting. And breastfeeding was such an interesting experience. And I think that people don't know how hard it is. And there need to be facilitators more.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate. My hospital was very pro breastfeeding, but I have friends who didn't have stories with lactation consultants and stuff. So, yeah.
So how old is Talia now?
She will be 2 in 3 weeks.
Okay. So overall, from pregnancy to now, is there anything about being a mom that surprises you?
You feel like your heart is walking outside of your body. You're like, oh my God, something's wrong. Something's going to happen. I was never a panicky, anxiety-ridden person. And then I became a parent, and I was like this rush of panic.
Yep.
And it's the ability to act like you're really cool about things. Like, oh, no, that's fine.
okay.
They can cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, inside your head, you're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. I think that surprised me because I thought I was going to be able to take everything on and I wouldn't feel scared. Of course, I used to make fun of helicopter moms, and then I find myself.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
So you become one of them.
You do.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So did you did you do the co-sleeping or?
We did.
Okay. For how long?
Oh my gosh. How long did we co-sleep, Daniel? Do you remember? 3 months? 3 months.
Okay. Was it easy getting her to sleep by herself?
No.
You said that quick.
No. I actually had to have a pediatrician
Oh, really?
talk to me.
Okay.
Because breastfeeding and co-sleeping go really well together because you can sleep and you can do what's called a dream feed where they're both sleeping, but they're feeding at the same time. Nobody's got to wake up. Nobody's got to get up and do anything. So we did that. And then we got to a point where our pediatrician, because she wasn't sleeping and I wasn't sleeping and nobody was sleeping.
Yeah.
Because it was just the constant availability of me, which made it difficult. And she got to an age where she was like babbling and stuff. So she would get up in the middle of the night, want to have conversations because, that's what little ones do. And the pediatrician looked at me and she was like, you need to sleep and the baby needs to sleep and we all need to sleep.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is you're going to read this book. And we were given, what was it?
Is it the one where they tell you to let the baby cry?
Yeah, but it was incremental. It wasn't just cry it out. What was it called?
Was it?
No, not Dr. Sears. Dr. Ferber's book.
Okay.
The pediatrician gave us Dr. Ferber's book, and we just incrementally let her learn how to sleep. I think it took 3 nights. And to this day, she doesn't sleep any shorter than 12-hour stretches.
Wow.
We're very lucky. Very, very, very lucky. But we paid for it in the beginning.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I tried to let them cry out, and for my first, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was right outside her door,
Yep.
literally crying with her because she was so loud.
Yeah.
So I basically slept with her for about 6 months and did not see my husband for 6 months.
Yep.
Because we would go in the other room and go to sleep. And finally, I got pregnant with my second, and I told her, I said, baby girl, you have got to go in this room by yourself. I'm pregnant. I'm tired. I need sleep.
Yeah.
And she finally went in the room. It's like she understood me. And she finally went in her own room and fell asleep. And that was it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like they know.
I bet part of you was like, why didn't I just do that?
I know.
Why didn't I just look at her?
I had to get pregnant for her to actually listen to me. Wow.
That's so funny.
So I don't know if this has happened to you, but I noticed after my first that my feet grew.
Did my feet grow? I think a little bit.
Yeah.
But then they went back down.
Mine didn't go back down.
Yeah, I think mine could have just been like swelling then. Because I remember sitting there because I was looking at my shoes. I was like, these are my pregnant shoes. And they don't fit now. So
What's going on?
I don't know.
Mine never went back down. I was at 8.5. So I had to get rid of all of my 8.5s.
That's devastating.
It was devastating. I had some really nice shoes.
Yeah, that hurts.
So what are you looking forward to?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm thrilled to have an almost 2-year-old because she's vocal and she can tell me when she needs things. As a mom, it's really nice to have, where you're not just guessing what they want all the time. Now that she's becoming more vocal and more independent, it's wonderful. It's also kind of, it's that weird bittersweet where you're thrilled that they're becoming more independent because you get a little bit more freedom. But at the same time, you have to it's the end of an era.
Yeah.
So you have to mourn each stage. And it's interesting too, when you're a mom, you always don't want to be in the stage that you're in. When you have a screaming 3-month-old that can't sit up on their own, you hate it.
Right.
But then when you have the 6-month-old that is now sitting but wants to walk for some reason, and they're frustrated they can't walk, you just always yearn to be at the next stage. So I don't know. I am looking forward to having a closer relationship in terms of learning her personality more as she talks and sings and all those things that 2-year-olds start to do. But I'm looking forward to, my husband and I, of course, want to have more. So I think now that I really understand who Talia is, I would love to see her with siblings.
Oh, yeah.
Because you see a different side of them and it's a gift for them as well. And then they have a partner in crime. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Quite a bit.
Especially when you have a little one like I do. It's exciting.
Are you looking forward to potty training?
We're in the middle. We're doing that weird thing slowly where we're introducing the potty. It's okay. She gets it. She understands that's what it's for. But she is a comfort in the way that she goes to the bathroom right now, that it's hard to say, oh, no, this is more comfortable. Not sitting down on your tushy while you go. That's not comfortable. Right. So we're going to be the type of people who just take one weekend and just get it done.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it in the sense I don't have to change any more diapers. But the tears and the frustration will not be a good time.
Absolutely. Well, guess how many diapers the average child uses in 2 years? This was shocking. This is according to realdiapers.org.
Let me see. Oh no, I don't want to.
2 years.
2 years?
Yep.
Say you go through. Oh no, that's so much though. 2,000?
6,000. diapers
What?
in 2 years. I don't remember changing diapers 6,000 times.
I don't know.
Can you imagine if you had twins?
Forget it. Forget it. At any time, like I have a friend and they'll find out they're pregnant. They're like, oh, I'm so excited. Wouldn't it be so cool if I had twins? I go, hush. Don't wish that. I mean, twins are wonderful and they're magical.
Yeah.
And I actually probably would be thrilled if I had twins. But when you're in the middle of it, I'm sure.
Oh no. Yeah, yes.
I'm sure it tests you. It pushes you to limits that you didn't even know existed.
Well, I used to say, you know what? I want 2 kids, so I want to have twins, get it knocked out.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be one boy, one girl.
Pregnancy.
Nope. So glad I didn't do that. I had a neighbor. She was pregnant right after me, and she had twins. And I literally did not see her for 6 months after she got home.
God bless her.
Yeah, I mean, and she enjoyed, of course, having her twins, but she wanted to experience having one. So she had another one after that. Right. And I thought, what if you have twins again? Because now
it can happen.
Yeah. But she ended up having one. But yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah. It's
all those diapers, all that breastfeeding.
You need help. You need that's the type of situation where you need help. It's not even an option.
She definitely had help. So yeah, 6,000 diapers. I was actually looking forward to potty training because I don't even remember a lot what I did, because the second one was way easier than the first because she wanted to mimic her sister. But the first, my oldest, she's very independent. She doesn't like to be told what to do.
Sure.
So for her, it was a way to gain some control back. I would actually put her on the potty, wait for her, leave her there for a little bit, encourage her. She would get up. I would put the diaper back on or the pull-up, and she would go in the corner and then go pee.
Yep.
And then look at me like, so what are you
this
gonna
is what
do?
we're doing.
Yes. So it was a control thing, but we finally got her there. But yeah, I think every child is different. You know, I let them go at their own pace.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second one was definitely a lot easier than the first.
Everybody says too, like, your kid doesn't go to college in diapers. They're not going to leave in
right.
diapers.
Right. And it's hard to think about that.
Yeah. Everybody gets there. It's just a matter of when and how.
So do you do a lot of reading to her?
I do. We read every single night.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
At first, it was only 2 books. And then now she's getting older. It's now 3 books. And because she requests more and more books as we stand there, and she knows that it delays bedtime, so she'll go over, pull another book and go, Mama, and you're like, okay,
here we go,
because I'm going to say no. Oh,
right.
You want to read another book?
Right. I'm tired. No, go to bed. No. Well, get ready for the day that she wants to read the same book over and over and over, and you have to read it. I will never read Sleeping Beauty ever again. I've read it a gazillion times, but my daughter, shelf full of books.
Yep.
Always grab that one. And it was the longest one.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to read it. My husband had to read it. We had to read it to her every single night.
We're actually in that stage. It's very odd.
And she would mimic me while I was reading because I'd read it so many times. So she would sit there and move her mouth because she knew what was coming next and she knew the words. So yeah, absolutely. So now it's time for a segment of the show that we call Off the Cuff Kids.
Ooh.
It's a segment of the show that highlights the random things that our kids say, text, or do. It can be endearing, funny, jaw-dropping, heartfelt, but of course random and unexpected. The one that I got here, it's actually comes from Anna, and she has a daughter who is in 2nd grade who wrote a note to Santa. She wrote it on a Post-it note, and it says, she was actually tattling on her twin sister. It says, Dear Santa, and she spelled it D-E-E-R, my twin sister scratched me really hard. Look at what it looks like. And then she actually drew 3 scratch marks with her pen. Cutest thing. I hope she laminates this. It's so cute.
They should make it like a little ornament.
She should. That would be so
such
cool.
a cute little ornament.
So I wanted to thank Olivia and Talia for coming to the show today. I know you heard her in the background. Do you think she'll come over and say bye-bye?
Yeah. Do you want to come say bye-bye? Come here. Come on.
Can you say bye-bye in the microphone? I'll read the outro and then you can Come over. Be sure to find Raising Mommy anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check out new episodes every Saturday. Follow us on Twitter at RaisingMommyGA. Search for me on Facebook and Instagram at eatplantsforlife.com or Raising Mommy Podcasts. Don't forget to email me at raisingmommy@appenmediagroup.com to share your random fun and sweet things that your kids say, text, or do in our Off the Cuff Kids segment. If your comment is chosen for a future show, you will win a gift card. Remember, first names only, and please include the age or grade of your child. If you have a screenshot of the text or note or photo, please also include it. Are you going to come say bye-bye?
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming to the show.
Say here.
Say it one more time. Say
Say right
bye-bye.
here. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.